Hello everyone, and welcome back to Coronavirus Corner. It's all still chaos, isn't it? Boris Johnson's accused Keir Starmer of being an IRA supporter. Little Matt Hancock is talking about a new track and trace system. And Dr. Hillary's been on demonstrating how to feel as though you've had a hug by stroking in between your thumb and your index finger. It feels as though the world's got even madder just lately. But I had a lovely time with Charles and Lydia on Saturday. Antonio was waiting at the window when I arrived, and then he ran up to me and licked me, and I jumped on my knee when I sat down. That stopped me feeling nervous. I've never been to a bishop's house before. Apparently Charles has got quite a small one, but it looked huge to me. He says he only heats 4 rooms in the winter. Lydia said he has to wear his cassock to bed. Daft thing. We had a gin and tonic before dinner, and I was a bit nervous. I've never quite got over the time Auntie Nancy introduced me to gin and tonic when I was 16. She told me it was posh lemonade, so I had 3. And I ended up literally under the table singing Edelweiss and sobbing about the budgie that had died when I was 7. My mother was mortified. She didn't speak to Auntie Nancy for 3 weeks. Anyway, I digress. I only had one this time and I was fine. Charles and Lydia shared the cooking. He'd done a roast and Lydia had done a lemon syllabub, which I'd never had before, and it was lovely. Antonio sat gazing hopefully up at me all through the meal, but I didn't give him anything. We talked about all sorts of things. Charles asked what my favourite music was. And then we got on to holidays, and Lydia asked about my family, and I don't really have any anymore. So I told them about Auntie Nancy, and they said they'd have loved to have met her. I told them about the time she went to communion in a church which used white wine. When she got to the altar, she hissed, "I want Christ's blood, not his plasma." And Charles laughed so hard he had tears in his eyes, and he said that was one complaint he'd never heard so far. I asked about their family, and Charles said they were lucky they'd always got on well. And Lydia said, "And we're both balmy." And then they told me about how they've always played silly tricks on each other, and how when Charles was ordained, Lydia got up at the party afterwards and sang, "Now I have to call him father." She said she'd always thought clergy were very pompous, and she felt the Lord had called her to keep Charles humble, and that was really easy when he had so many faults to point out. Then she winked. After dinner, we went in the garden, which is beautiful, and I couldn't quite believe I was really there. Lydia went inside to make coffee, and Charles and I sat on a bench, watching the trees turn to silhouettes in the twilight. The air smelled wonderful. It was so still, and such a perfect moment. I suddenly felt very shy, and Charles went very quiet. And then he said, "It's a shame about social distancing, isn't it, Edna?" And my heart started thudding, and he looked at me and just briefly touched my arm, and I can still feel the exact spot. I could have sat there all evening. Today's sensible tip is, dreams can come true. As the saying goes, tomorrow is another day. This will all be over eventually, and then we'll all be gladder than ever to be alive. So don't let your dreams die. You take care, stay safe, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.